A few years ago, I used to have a car that wasn't nearly as reliable as the car I'm driving right now, and it had battery problems. And one day, I knew I would be in a hurry in between two events, and didn't have that much time to. I didn't even have enough time to drive to the next one. So I got a little worried that later, when I go to start the car, I would have a battery problem. So I was thinking about this, and I thought, oh, I better go check the car. And then I realized I can't, because if I check the car by starting it, later on it just might not start again. So it became a little bit of a paradox, and I just have to cross my fingers and hope that the car starts to go to my next event, and it did. So that was good. It was a good thing I didn't check it. But this kind of flavor comes up in life a lot. The checking a problem becomes a problem in itself. I was just reading an article about people who have a lot of anxiety relating to if they turned off the kitchen stove before they leave the home, and there was one suggestion of taking a picture of it. If nothing else, it helps you check that you did. But anything you have to check like that. I remember when I was a kid, and I used to love to watch reality TV shows, and I would be at school, and I would set the VCR to record the show, and I get so nervous about setting the wrong time, but I would check it and check it. The problem is, when I would go check it was very easy to accidentally bump into the remote control and actually do mess up the time. So that was another example of something like that. It happens a lot with computer programming as well. You have a bug in your code, it's giving you the wrong result, and you want to print out variables to see what they are at various stages of the program. But when you do print them out, it affects the behavior of the rest of the program. Usually this happens if you have like undefined behavior, you forget to define a variable or something like that. So this is another kind of another way that paradox could come up. The other way it comes up is that I tend to mess up things when high stakes are involved. So I tend to do better in terms of social situations. I tend to do better with people I don't care about, or don't care about nearly as much. I tend to screw up the relationships that I actually do care about. Where has this come up before? I lived in my car for a year and a half. Right now I have a workplace office that I can also live in, so it's not nearly as bad. But when I was living in the car, my biggest fear obviously was getting into a car accident, because that was my home as well. And then if I totaled the car, where do I move all my stuff? And just the logistics of figuring out where to live next, especially if the accident is my fault, and I have trouble with getting my license or getting insurance, or whatever the case is. It's very high stakes. And eventually, at one point, I got so scared, I tried to minimize the driving. I tried to figure out, I had two spots figured out that I could park my car without too many people bothering me, and then I just tried to minimize driving. And I remember figuring out how to do everything in one trip. And when I did drive, I tried to do it outside of rush hour, sometimes even in the middle of the night if I could, just to avoid traffic. And when I first got the car, when I totaled another car 2 years earlier, and when I first got the Mitsubishi Lancer that I'm driving today, I remember thinking, oh my god, because I've had 3 accidents before then, and I remember thinking, oh my god, every time I drive, I'm one drive closer to my next car accident. I remember thinking of it that way. I'm a very logical person, so it seemed that seemed like a very rational argument to make. Unless I never have another car accident again, it is true that every drive I take is one drive closer to the next car accident. And I remember just being a nervous wreck. I would see something out of the ordinary on the highway, and then my heart would just pound nonstop. And actually, a couple days ago, I was talking about some anxiety relating to getting gasoline and trying to time the pricing right. Early on, when I got my Mitsubishi Lancer, when I totaled the Honda that I was driving 2 years ago, I had just filled up the gas tank and I totaled the car, so I lost like $50 worth of gas. And so when I first got the Mitsubishi Lancer, I kind of hesitated about putting a full tank of gas into the car every time. I would put 2 gallons in, 3 gallons in, or even just enough to get by the day. I was getting gas like every day pretty much at the beginning of the life of the Lancer that I'm driving. I was getting gas like almost every day. And I liked it though, because when I went to get gas, sometimes odd things would happen. I would talk to a girl at the gas station. I might the funniest thing was one time I went to get gas. There was a fistful of change in front of the gas pump, and amongst it was like 3 wheat pennies, and then there was a silver dime. It was just kind of weird. Somebody must have gotten rid of an antique car or something like that and just tossed all the change on the street. And so weird things would happen every time I got gas, which always gave me a cheer. It was never a fortune. It was never meeting my future wife, but it was always a good aside for the day. So what I'm trying to point out is because I was so anxious about the car, I made a mess of myself every time I drove. So sometimes just the very act of being cautious about something causes more problems to come up, is what I'm trying to point out. Thanks for watching.